All right. So I'm going to go ahead and take a peek at Spawn Compendium, books 1 and books 2. There's book 1 there, and I got book 2 down here. They're heavy as hell. 50 issues, I believe, in each one. 1 through 50, and I think the other one is issue 50 through 100. I'm just going to take a quick peek at them. Again, art for inspiration, not examining story, just checking out. Awesome artwork that makes me want to draw. Hopefully inspires you as well to be creative. All right, so Compendium 1, Compendium 2. Majority of this is going to be McFarlane on pencils and mostly inks as well. Capullo coming on to do pencil chores on there too. I think he did a little bit of inks of his own work on some of it, and then I don't know, a plethora of other inkers as well. Chance Wolf being one of them. I don't recall who else. Let's see here. You got additional pencils. Yes, you got you got a some Tony Daniel issues in here as well. The Mark Silvestri crossover book, Spawn, what was it, 25, I think. Additional inks, you got Panosian, Tver, Mark Pennington. Yeah, Capullo was inking himself. Kevin Conrad, Danny Mickey. That's nice he got credit here, because there was a point when Danny Mickey actually was not receiving, he was kind of ghosting back in the Extreme days. Alright, so it starts off, you get some McFarlane goodness. And I'm just going to be skipping some chunks here. So you get a Spawn, what is it, 1 through 12 or so. 100% McFarlane art. I don't remember seeing any line art that was sus, you know, that another inker came in to help out. It's possible, but he's got a very specific kind of loose line and haphazard approach, and I think other artists are have a little more refinement to their work. So that being said, yeah, maybe some background assistant. I'm not really sure, but yeah, this stuff's awesome. If anything, you know, get this Compendium 1 just for the sake of history, comics history. Yeah, man, some of these layouts were cool. I do prefer this actually to his Spider-Man books. When he got his own Spider-Man title, there's 2 or 3 books of those that were really, really cool. But for the most part, I felt like he did a lot better with the amazing books. Downside to this, guys, just so you know, Todd removed all covers from this, and to purchase the covers, you actually have to purchase a hardcover book, which is Spawn covers 1 through 100 in that. Yeah, so I got another video on that I should make live as well. Yeah, you get Overkill. This was a character created by McFarlane and Liefeld together, so I don't really understand it. Just, you know, Todd using it. I know Rob used it for a bit too, but they created it live, I think, on some video. Way back in the day, I used to rent these videos from our old comic shop, and I remember watching it, but I don't remember exactly what it was from. Some old late 80s, early 90s video. Yeah, alright, so let's see here. Bust through this. You do get some guest writers in here too, but I'm not really going to speak too much on that. Frank Miller's in there. I think Alan Moore as well. And then, who was it? Neil Gaiman. This does also include the, what is it, Spawn 9 with the first Angela. When I picked this up, I wasn't sure whether or not it would have it, but it does. So yeah, you get all this stuff here, and then let's see here. This is kind of a weird, I think this was issue 9. This feels like it's just scanned directly off printed comic pages. The coloring is not super sharp. So one thing with these kind of omnibus sort of things, like the coloring here feels very, very scanned and kind of untouched. You can even see a little bit of the dot matrixy stuff going on in here. So yeah, this, and it's specifically this 9th issue here, this issue 9. So yeah, maybe, you know, maybe the files were corrupted, or he just didn't have the digital files anymore. But yeah, it almost feels like a color guide, um, like hand coloring, just because it feels a little washed. And they weren't really using effects back in the day like that to make stuff feel organic. Just cuts and grads, and yeah. So, but yeah, so the issue is in here regardless. I would say in print, the solo issue of this by itself probably looks better in person than the issue in here. But all the rest absolutely look better in here. The clarity of all the pages and all the colors and all the rendering. So, all right, let's start skipping some stuff here. Crossover book, you got Cerebus in there. Yeah, a lot of this stuff was like super cool. I think this was the Frank Miller issue with the gangs and all that. I remember really digging that book when it had come out. So I think around, what is it, like Spawn 19 or so? I think Todd got off track for his monthly releases. Youngblood here. And brought in Greg Capullo to help out with art chores. I feel like I read something before that he was already having his eye on like the 100th or the 300th issue. Like he already had his eyes on being the longest running indie comic. So he was trying to like have a deadline for hitting that by, or something like that. Alright, so this is still Todd. This is still Todd. Lots of content here, guys. This is Capullo here. Alright, so it says issue 16. Okay, so no cover. Again, it makes it very difficult. It goes from a McFarlane to a Capullo book here. Definitely not 100% what we ended up with Capullo. Still has like a ton of that Marvel flavor. Very, very, you know, this looks like straight out of the pages of the X-Force. He was working on X-Force, I think, at the time when he came over. This is a very Jim Lee face here. So Capullo was still not shaken off the Marvel dust yet, and fully acquiring the powers of the McFarlane style. Has a bit of it adapted, a little bit with the cape, a little bit with some of the facial expressions and stuff. He was getting a little more playful with his work with the shots, but not quite all the way there. So, all right, so let's see here. So and then they kind of ping pong back and forth. So you got, let's see, Redeemer here, more Capullo. I think Capullo did 2 issues and then Todd came back. Don't even recall what year this would be, 92, 93 maybe. You got this magician character, and then I think it goes back to Todd. Yeah, I think it goes back to Todd. Let's see, that's still Capullo. Maybe he did more than I thought. This is McFarlane back here. Okay, so it goes back and forth. Todd comes in and knocks out a book or two, and then I think it goes back to Greg with Todd handling inks, at least on some of the larger pieces. It's definitely McFarlane, the inking on the fingers there. So much stuff here. There's a ton of stuff here. Yeah, that's still McFarlane. And then we get the badass Silvestri issue here. If you don't have this, recommend this book as well. This looks just as good in print. This looks like it's straight off the digital files, so this looks really, really nice still. I'm going to skip all that, and then we get to, I feel like this is the issue, so maybe 26. Yeah, this is the one where either Todd hijacks Capullo's lines, or he just, or is this still Todd? I feel like this is Capullo. Anyways, This is where it's kind of back to like Todd's kind of original style, through the eyes and hands of Capullo. Let's see, yeah, it is for sure. Definitely, this feels way better than 4 issues prior. Let's see, and then he pretty much sticks with that style. I feel like Capullo stuck with this style until, oh, what was it, DC 52 Batman. He kind of went to a kind of a basic comic approach. I felt like minimalist almost, dropping a lot of shadows on stuff. Looked very similar to almost a super clean version of Uncanny X-Men era Silvestri, in my opinion. Yep, so we got all this stuff here. Let's see here. And then I think there are a couple issues that Todd pulled from the farm of Marvel again. Who'd he pluck? He plucked Tony Daniels and Kevin Conrad. Yeah, they came over and handled a couple fill-ins, I think. Probably towards here. Let's see. But yeah, the layouts in here, super. Yeah, this is a Tony Daniels book here. This might be the first one. I think it had a Cygor or something in it. Yeah, and Tony's stuff, I mean, acceptable for a fill-in, but his characters always felt very like water retentive, like they felt very, I don't know, pulpy, and not like pulp comics. They just felt gelatinous. I don't know a good expression for it. Definitely pulling a bit of like the stylistic stuff that Todd might do, but you know, some of his own flavor in there too. Definitely taking advantage of the shortcuts that he had been watching Capullo, you know, with a lot of these heavy blacks. Like, some of this stuff is for dynamic storytelling, but a lot of it too is just to get the page knocked out super fast and take advantage of the fact that it is a darker environment book. That's kind of a cool shot. So yeah, and then I think, yeah, so it kind of goes back and forth. Yeah, Tony Daniels on a few books, and then you had Capullo. Back to Capullo here. This was that Christmas issue that I think is probably Spawn's best single issue, in my opinion, by Capullo, though. Let's see here. And then you got, yeah, this is back to Tony Daniels. A little bit after this, Tony Daniels went on to do, what was it, Spawn Blood Feud? I think it was called Blood Feud. He did some miniseries, and then he went on to do his own stuff. Yeah, so there's that. Don't want to run too long on this, guys. So you get more Angel stuff going on here. I'm not sure if Todd comes back or not. I think that this is pretty much it, where Todd shoehorns himself into just being an inker only over Capullo. This doesn't really feel like Todd's inks to me. Might be Chance Wolf. He surrounded himself with people who were really wanting to be involved with the book and doing pinups and stuff, and so I'm sure he was tossing pages off, you know, here and there. A lot of these dudes really wanted to be involved with this book. Sales were like really good, super popular. This was a Danny Mickey, fully complete Danny issue here. I remember that. The noodling on this is insane. The rendering that Danny brought into the mix. This stuff here, the texturing. Total trademark Danny. And then Danny went on, I have another video as well. It's for Curse of the Spawn, which Danny just, essentially was the Danny Mickey gem. He just flexed all over that thing, showing his talents as an inker. Alright, so let's bust through this. Issue 50. Alright, there's that there. Of course, like I said, no covers in there. It really would have helped separating these issues, but Todd wanted to stuff these with more books. essentially just 2 issues of content extra. I would have preferred to have the covers, but yeah, he got us to buy that hardcover with all the covers in it. This will be, what is it, 51? Yeah, 51 through 100. Yeah, you got Capullo full speed. You got a Savage Dragon issue here. It's madness. This is straight up madness. Fun to look at. Really weird, the Ninja Turtle feet. He's got 2 toes and like this long ankle thing going on. I don't recall that in the Dragon books, but anyways, yeah, full throttle Capullo here. All this stuff was excellent. Awesome colors also as well. Had a bunch of talented colorists on this. You know, Todd was keeping everything close. You get talent in there and just hold on to him for a bit, and then, you know, they weren't necessarily looking for other gigs. It felt like they would stick around for a bit. There were quite a few. Now these are a little difficult to read in here because these books are thick as hell. Some of these double page spreads here were like the face. On the floppy, it's a little easier to fillet the book. On this here, it's a little more difficult, but it's I mean, I really don't need to see the rendering on that. You know, I've owned all these books for many years, so this is just nice to have, that I'm not having to bust out floppies and, you know, rebag and board and tape them up and all that. Start skipping some stuff here. All right. Yeah, so this volume of work, though, 1 through 100, in my opinion, is the best run of any Spawn comic. Recently, as far as filming this video, there's, what is it, the Gunslinger Spawn book, I think, is probably the best illustrated Spawn work by Brett Booth. In a long time. But this stuff here definitely is cream of the crop as far as Spawn is concerned. I don't have Compendium 3 here, although it does contain a lot of Angel Medina issues. I like Angel's art, but it just had a completely different flavor to it than this stuff here. That Capullo was serving. Yeah, but anyways, pretty consistent with this stuff. Capullo has no problem stacking panels, working the eye through the page, playing with shadows, almost to the point where these open pages of talking feel offbeat. You know, this is kind of what a standard comic would give you, but these pages are just stuffed with different versions of going tonal and the texturing of buildings and creatures and, you know, blood and saliva and all that stuff, that when you get a normal page, it almost doesn't feel right in this book. Super dark, gritty. You got the splatter going on. Not sure who inked that. It might have been Danny, maybe not. This feels like Danny to me, this hatching here, so I think these were Danny's inks. So anyways, yeah, and again, you notice, so I'm like, I don't know what this is, maybe issue 70, maybe, I don't know. Not a whole lot of double page splashes, if you notice. There's a few that you got to turn sideways and a few that go across, but besides Todd's own work on those early Spawn issues, it doesn't seem like he was scripting up or pushing any of these artists to really do the double page splash pages within these comics. That almost doesn't feel like, so yeah, 77. That last couple pages with Wanda did not feel like Capullo to me. Strange. Yeah, I'm pretty sure there is not any Angel Medina in here in these first two. But I would recommend the third one as well if you're a completist. I personally kind of jumped off around, I think it was like Spawn 125 when I stopped picking it up monthly. And I was all about those variants too. There's a bunch of variants coming out, and even with Curse of the Spawn, I was on board early on. I said, I really like this. It was kind of a Superman panel, but it's super cool. But yeah, so anyways, yeah, these are they're tight, they're consistent, super rad coloring, easy to digest. Easy to digest. Story-wise, though, I'm not going to vouch for it. Kind of hit and miss, but again, this is an art strip. That is a weird ass finger, man. I don't know what's going on there. This one too. It's bizarre. Look at that finger. What is going on? It looks interesting. Alright, so let's see, I'm almost to the end here. Yeah, you get the freak. This was a good story here too. Yeah, this is a really cool shot. But yeah, like close-ups, three-quarter shots. This is a great series if you want to see different ways to crop and they push a lot of stuff too, like these crazy close-up. No one draws this because it has a very uncomfortable amount of rendering and detail up in these mouths where you just don't want to see it. But they do it well, and the hair looks awesome. This is super cool. Yeah, and I passed a ton of prime examples of great storytelling and great examples of design and layouts that are very innovative to comics at the time, and even now a lot of people don't practice a lot of the stuff going on in here, using foliage or like maggots or whatever for like these borders. No one's really doing that, they're just breaking out the straight edge and just rolling with it. Yeah, look at the texturing in here is insane. This is all ink. Yeah, alright, so I'm going to skip through this. But yeah, anyways, there's my super fast look at the Spawn Compendium 1 and Compendium 2. There we go, and feel free to check out my other video. I should have one up. I'm not sure if it's up yet or not. I got a ton of videos that I haven't posted yet. But I did one for the covers. There's a cover collection hardcover, which collects the covers for both of these compendiums. I imagine Todd will probably have another hardcover for the other covers for probably compendium. What would it be? 3 and 4. So that'd be like 101 through 200, I imagine. So, alright guys, thanks.